think? Do you think we'd be okay without the heater on, or should we leave it?
I don't think it's loud at all.
Well, I mean, I just worry about the breaker kicking. These things are.
I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think I'll be all right.
I think our body heat will
Sure.
gets cold, I'm not opposed to turn it back on. I'm not worried about the sound or whatever.
Hey, that Daniel guy wants to know best place to watch the pod: YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook.
Rozier?
Rozier?
Yeah.
He's not that Daniel guy.
I'd probably
He is to me.
He's
I don't
Dan
know.
Rozier.
YouTube or Twitch, probably.
I don't see anything arms.
Yeah,
'cause-
no, I understand.
Well, I don't see a linebacker that I would pair with the safety because I think it'd be too much on my part. Because I have pretty fucking good linebackers.
You got Hassan Reddick you can have.
There you go. I mean, I gotta. Hold on.
scour the
Well,
wire real
you don't need anybody this week, right?
No.
Hassan
I got that Ishmael guy for the Falcons who's not doing terrible, but he plays. I'll give you for. God damn, you don't have any football dollars.
I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing, man. I went all in on somebody, free agent that didn't work out.
Da-da-da-da.
Fuck, dude.
That's a loud
Give
keyboard.
them to you for Quan Alexander.
I've got a couple of moves I'm gonna make.
Okay, buddy. I'm sure there's somebody on free agency that's better than what I'm offering.
Yeah.
Who's going to replace Quan in the lineup?
Um,
Don't tell me I'm going to pick him up. I got way more
I've already
money
got,
than you.
I've already got a bid in on him, so that's the thing too. Where I've missed out on some players, I'm bidding because I might miss out on a Wednesday waiver.
Right.
So then on Saturday, I'm bidding on 2 or 3 players and winning them all. And it's like Jesus
know.
criminy.
It's like arms. You have 37 players. That was funny as fuck. Jesus Christ, how do you have 37 players? Oh shit.
Not to be a Grinch, but I think it'd be okay to put our phones on silent so we don't get the.
Well, I usually do.
Fucking,
My
get
bad.
up off my nuts.
Actually,
I was trying not to just pinpoint arms out on that one.
I say it. Mine is on silent.
You gotta be on. Did you get up off my dick?
God, buddy. A little harsh.
Sorry, I'm having a rough time over here. Quan Alexander got me 0 points in a key matchup, and went out for the season at the same time. I mean,
Happens.
I'm not too terribly fond of the situation. You know, I bet
good.
it wouldn't surprise me if they signed Zach Brown.
He got signed by the Cardinals today.
Yes, he did.
Okay, no wonder you're trying to get rid of Hassan Reddick.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not the reason, though. The reason is they moved him from the inside back to the outside.
Oh yeah.
Because they signed Zach Brown.
No, they're starting man, I don't even remember. But yeah, Zach Brown's probably the guy to own there now.
Well,
Zach Brown.
outside of Jordan Hicks, who's having a monster year, by the way.
Until CBB gets there.
Really.
Dude,
Who?
Zach Brown's a monster.
Who?
Why couldn't he do anything where he was just at?
Who?
That's the only place he's never done anything.
He hasn't done anything for a couple years now.
Disagree. Disagree.
Zach Brown. All right, so we're streaming. We're in coats. It's cold
I'm
in
a
Ohio.
man. I'm a man. I'm almost 40.
Yeah, me
You
too.
sure you're not 40?
Me too, buddy.
I'm a man.
Hey, you want one of these, guy?
Yes,
One of these?
please.
Yeah, but you fucking do.
The
Wasn't sure if
language.
you could reach that far.
Oh, okay.
The language that happens before we hit record.
I feel like my wingspan's probably very comparable to yours.
Shit, I got long arms.
Yeah, but I'm
buddy.
wide. I'm wide.
I got long arms.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
We might have to do a wingspan thing.
We're gonna do it right now.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't have a tape measure like the hand thing back in the day.
No doubt. I got these tiny
Just
hands.
So, welcome everybody that might be watching the stream. Welcome to this thing we call our show.
This thing we call life.
Yes.
We gathered here today. What is it, Princess? To celebrate this thing we call life.
The holy waters of Lake Minnetonka. So, any pre-show things to talk about before we hit record? Anything?
Hux, you want to talk about a little WWE? Did you watch
Little-
the Crown Jewel?
I read the results.
I didn't
and
watch any of it.
I didn't watch it. No, I just read the results.
Oh, wow.
And
Hux just won $2,000 off of basketball, so
Sure
Yeah,
did, buddy.
start Venmoing that cat $5. He'll send you a lineup.
right.
PayPal.
Our
I don't do
DFS,
I don't do
PayPal.
Venmo.
PayPal.
PayPal.
It's the same thing. PayPal owns it.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
well. That's brianhux83@gmail.com.
You're going to have to send him what email you want him to send the link to, though.
My PayPal, bark at backrowfantasyshow.com. Donations accepted. I'd like to pay my house off within the next 5 years if that helps. That'd be nice.
So, yeah, I don't... Whatever.
Please.
Whatever.
Please. Oh, pretty please, mister.
Anyhow...
So,
Anything, any exciting going on? Nationals win the World Series.
yeah, don't care.
I watched the last game. So that means there's 182 games in a season. There's, 30 teams in Major League Baseball? In total, I watched 7 innings of one game. And it was Game 7 of the World Series. I was rooting for the Nationals, though. Not that I really care.
I didn't care one way or the other.
It's just they've never won it before.
Yeah.
And I don't have like a rooting interest for anyone in baseball, so.
I enjoy
You know, a lot of people don't like Bryce Harper, so they were like, Nash are gonna win it without him. First year without him, so which they did.
No, don't get me wrong.
Which
I would like to see Bryce Harper.
it's not
Be-
because they didn't have Bryce. They didn't win because they didn't have him.
Yeah, oh, he wouldn't have been the negative difference maker.
No, they won because they finally stayed healthy, and they got that third starting pitcher in their rotation that they've been lacking. So
Yeah, baseball.
Yeah.
Woo. Woo. Most boring game on the planet.
It's so much better in person though.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Baseball-
I love.
yeah,
I
baseball in
love.
person's awesome.
Yeah, I love going to those.
Way
games,
better
but
when beer's $7.
$10 a beer is ridiculous. $14 a beer is even more ridiculous if you want a freaking
A craft beer?
yeah.
Well, don't drink craft beer.
I don't. I'm just saying that's ridiculous.
AKA a good beer.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy with Bud Light.
I'm happy with basically any American Pilsner or American Lager because I know Miller Lite's a Pilsner and Bud Light's a Lager.
Happy with any beer that doesn't taste like piss. That's what I'm happy with. Hey, PJ McCoy, happy birthday. Got on the old Facebook. Happy birthday to you.
Having a really hard time finding some starting sits.
Happy birthday. You're not supposed to admit that on the pre-show.
Wow.
Is anybody watching?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody watches.
Bauer.
Nobody gives a crap what we're doing.
Bauer and Neil back row.
I'm representing Bauer.
Dynasty Rewind,
Who's
baby.
Neil
Hey,
Backer?
is this shirt gonna be worth something? Because it's gonna be like retired. This shirt don't exist anymore, does it?
It'll be at least worth the cloth. At least a couple.
I
bucks.
like it. It's one of my favorite shirts.
It is. It's
I
nice.
enjoy it as well. But Bauer says I'm available if you guys need any stats looked up, or if you need to have Aaron fact checked. Who's Aaron? Who is Aaron?
Why would you properly call me by name?
Yeah,
You're not
that's-
even my mother.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Aaron.
You know what frustrates me? I'm just kind of scrolling through, looking at the stats. And like the first year in 3 years that I don't say Michael Thomas is going to be the number one receiver in the league. He's the number one receiver in the league.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like, really?
and that's with 5 weeks of Bridgewater.
And if you would have told me Bridgewater would start for one game out of those, I'd be like, I'm going to have to drop him down a little bit.
Huh. You know what's weird? I don't see a Facebook stream. Do you guys see a Facebook stream? You able to?
I don't follow us on Facebook.
It's not us. It's me.
Oh, I don't follow you on Facebook.
Yeah, my Facebook's deactivated.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm not friends with you.
Okay. Oh.
Obviously.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah. Not seeing it. I guess that's okay.
Did we start it? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, the stream is definitely started.
It started.
You guys ready to rock and roll? Because I've got plenty of non-starting.
Are you ready to rock? Oh, sorry.
That was awful. That was awful. All right. I feel like the best way to get our mojo going is to hit that big red button. Well, it's green. Hit that big green button. Yeah. I'm very confused by the fact that there's no stream on Facebook.
That's great. Can we get going?
Chill it out. Okay, so Bauer, you guys, you see us just fine, obviously, right? Ew.
Excuse me. Sorry.
What was that?
That was dinner and this Bud Light.
Did you just die a little?
Probably stunk too. My bad.
I'm starting this thing. Holy crap. Wow. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Actually, I messed that up. In three. Quit laughing. It's time to go. Serious. Today on the back.
My bad.
The follies of the Back Row Fantasy Show. The blooper reel. Okay. 3, 2. Help me out with that, Arms. You totally after I'm done. Let's start doing this together. I will say.
But I like to hear the sound of your voice better.
God dang it! No, I will cue you in. 3, 2, 1. Today on the Back Row Fantasy Show, we talk some more trade etiquette. Most likely trade etiquette for the playoff push and starts and sits for Week 9. Arms.
Don't forget to give us a like, a rate, and review. We appreciate those 5 stars, and it helps us continue to grow.
Nice. I thought you were going to go longer, and I'd have to cue the Emmy music on the Back Row Fantasy Show starting now.
Welcome to the Back Row Fantasy Show with your hosts Jeremy Barker and Aaron Arms.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show. As usual, it is me, it's Bark, and to my left I have Arms.
Good morning.
And to my right, I have Mr. Hux.
Hey, how we doing?
Whoa, that was a big time opening from Hux right there. So, welcome again to the show. Welcome to the live stream. Doesn't look like the Facebook stream is working, but I guess that's okay. Today, I've got a lot on my mind. We've got some sits and starts, but guys, it's the playoff push. We are officially at the playoff push, or in Hux's the lack thereof, the playoff push. It's the let's wrap it up and get on to 2020, even though you're still in the hunt.
Yeah, I don't understand. I did not understand you're starting to sell.
I did, because you look at that conference.
Well, it was my conference.
There we go.
And I wanted to get it done before other people wanted to do it, because I knew once them first got traded to other guys, I wouldn't have got them.
Yep.
I'd have been stuck where I was at. Probably would have had another win than what I do, and probably leading the wild card spot right now. But I don't know. I wanted to get a jump start on everybody else, and
all jokes aside, so I'm number 2 in the conference with the tiebreaker on number 1. I thought about fire selling like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, you know what? Kamara's hurt. It's going to be difficult for me to succeed with Kamara being hurt. There's another injury on my team. Oh, Kerryon Johnson being hurt. I'm like, now's the time to go. And all of a sudden I look and you've got all the first-round draft picks on your team, so I'm pretty much screwed.
Yeah, dude, you are loaded with picks.
Yeah, I got 5 first. The only thing about it is there's only one that's guaranteed to be up there. The other 4 potentially all could be playoff picks, which kind of sucks. So no offense, Arms are rooting for you to miss the playoffs because I have your pick.
Thanks. Can I have it back so I can bomb the rest of the season intentionally?
You know, and we're only 6 days away from the trade deadline in fantasy.
In our leagues.
In our leagues.
And
which sucks.
Yeah, I know, but I've also played in leagues that trade all the way up to the playoffs, and I can't say that I support it.
I don't know. I'd vote for trading to stay on year round, no stopping.
Okay, but
I mean, you can take
a
take a break for however long you want to take a break for. But I mean,
after the season, absolutely. But here's the problem: you know that you're out. So I'm out of the playoffs, and let's say I've got a key game, I get an injury, and I toss you a first rounder for a player that you wouldn't normally take a first rounder for because I'm going to toss you $20 back. A lot of people will do that. I wouldn't, but a lot of people do that
either.
Yeah, but there's
I'm hoping we're not playing with anybody that's like that either.
Okay,
Yeah,
but how many times have we seen just god awful lopsided trades
You're
you're
right.
like, are you kidding me?
It happens.
Like
I know.
and it's mind blowing. The person who offered it, you're like, that's who got tore up on this. Like, this is a horrible trade.
It is.
So,
Yeah, no, I get it. I think it's too early, and it's like that with every league I'm in. But I think that's like the standard deadline for most leagues is week 10.
Yeah,
I just think it's
would
too
hope
early.
so.
I think a lot of commissioners all like kind of know each other, and they're like, well, my deadline in this league's week 10.
I'm actually really, I'm good. I'm completely good with the trade deadline. I hate to see week 12 or 13 and the balance of the playoff picture shifts because, listen, right now, week 10 trade deadline, there's teams there in our league of record. There's a lot of teams still in it. So it's keeping them from dealing, and I kind of like that. Like, everybody is in it until they know they're out, and by that time, there are no trades. So the teams that are in, the teams that get in the playoffs, there's not going to be any major changes before the playoffs start. And if I'm a team that has been smart and made my moves before the deadline, I'm going to be kind of upset if a team finally realizes they're not going anywhere and in week 12 or 13 trades half their roster to the evil empire, like,
I mean, I get that. I get that side of it.
Dynasty's about planning, and to be able to have any kind of planning, there's got to be rules, regulations, and deadlines. That's why we have taxi squads, roster limits, trade deadlines, no trade back rules. Like, you swap guys, you can't swap them for what?
Well, yeah, I mean,
what's
I
our
agree with that.
league rule? I think it went by the wayside this year, but
I
it's
wouldn't
like
say it's
5
like-
weeks
I
or
thought it
something
was
like
6.
that.
Yeah, I
5
thought
or
it was
6 weeks.
6. Yeah.
Like, if I trade you a kicker for a kicker just to help bye weeks, we can't swap back for a certain amount of weeks. Like, I think those rules are there for reasons, and I'm all about the rules. All about the rules.
Such a rule follower.
Yeah.
All about structure.
No, I'm with Barker on a lot of it. Like, so let's just, in theory, I'm making my push, right? And I'm right to the cusp of it. And somebody comes to me and I've got, my whole draft and a few starters, on most teams, but they're not a starter on my team. But I can upgrade one spot. Like, I might make a lopsided trade just to push me over to get Patrick Mahomes for the championship game. Like, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Especially when you got money on the line. And most fantasy leagues have money on the line. So you're going into the next year with Patrick Mahomes and your starting roster, the rest of your starting roster, but you're giving up, let's just say, in theory, Aaron Rodgers and, a really solid running back that you happen to acquire. Let's say that you end up with Josh Jacobs this year. All right, so you gave up Aaron Rodgers and Josh Jacobs, which normally people would not do that. Right now in this season, people wouldn't do that for Patrick Mahomes, but right for a championship game, to get him over the top, they would.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't like week 10. Maybe the last week, maybe week 13. But
Yeah, but when you're talking week 13, you're talking walking into the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know.
Right, I'm with Barker. Right now would be maybe week 11, okay? Because week 11 gives us one more week. So let's say Barker loses and I lose and Burns wins. Me and Barker probably both looking at selling at that point.
Right. Yeah, and again, the deadline keeps teams from making hasty decisions that could really paint their future. So that's, again, no trade deadlines. I think you're looking at more leagues with lopsided rosters top-heavy teams, 3 or 4 teams that are just dominant, and the rest of the teams suck because they sold off everyone. Like, if you want to do that in the off-season, fine, but when the off-season comes into play and everyone knows where they stand on draft day, I got pick 1-5. I know the value of that now. Week 12 or 13, you could move that pick because you don't think you're going to be at 1.5. And teams weaken and teams get stronger. Leagues get lopsided. Rules and regulation sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and very realistically, people will trade for that pick for a lopsided situation. You know what I mean? A good player because they know they're out of the playoffs. Give me that potentially real high first and a second rounder. So you wouldn't normally do that for, let's say, in theory, Le'Veon Bell. You wouldn't normally do that. But I'm out of the playoffs and I'm going to try to rebuild now. But I didn't find out till week 13 I was out, because now I'm 2 games out instead of just 1 game back with tiebreaker or a head-to-head coming up with the guy who's in.
Now let's talk.
I mean, I see
let's
that
talk
side
flip
of it,
side real quick. Let's give Hux his side.
I mean,
how many teams in our league are not trading right now that should?
16.
Our league of record. Like, how many teams right now are just letting everything pass them by?
Probably 5 or 6 at least.
That's a lot. That's almost half the league.
I mean, there's.
It's a third, but
What'd you say? 5 or 6 what?
5
teams?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it is. No, I mean
between 5 and 6 is a third of 16.
I guess.
Yeah.
But
anyways, yeah, but
I guess.
There's-
I guess. Even though the math is right, I guess I'll accept that. Yeah.
there are definitely a handful of teams in that league, the league of record, that need to be making moves that aren't making moves, and they're only going to get worse by not making moves.
And you know what?
Those, they have plenty of older guys that are only going to get older. The value's going to, go away. I mean, they're not going to get anything out of these guys if they ever even try to move them.
Yeah, and now would be the time to move him.
Yeah.
I mean, with all due respect, let's just say Larry Fitzgerald. If you can get a second rounder out of Larry Fitzgerald,
I'd do it.
you're doing great. You're in great shape.
Do it right now. He might retire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or
And I think he will. If this decline, it looks like the decline's happening right now.
let's say Tom Brady, right? Your quarterback gets hurt, and Tom Brady's available, and someone says, "Give me a third for him." Break their arm. Heck yeah, I'll give you a third for Tom Brady to get me through the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk, since you got us on that track. Let's tell me it's the Carp that owns Witten and Olsen. Was it the Carp?
I don't
believe. Is he road? Yeah. Hold on. Road Hogs.
Yeah.
I like the guys, but honestly, I
Here we go.
know Chupacabras,
Here we go.
but it's like Chupacabra Snow Beasts are the ones I've interacted with the most.
Well, here we go.
Some of the other ones kind of changed owners.
It is.
What does the Carp say? Okay, so the Carp if you've listened to the show for a while and you've heard any of the past 5 episodes, the Carp is a player in our league of record. Now, granted, I think he's new to Dynasty, so I'm not bashing too hard. I just want to make a point. Like, our first year, 2, 3 of Dynasty, we probably made some silly decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Arms had arms gold. I traded everyone if they got in the slightest bit of trouble. Like, if somebody, if their wife got mad at them because they didn't do the dishes, I'm like, cut and bait. I'm trading them. Brandon Marshall, see you later.
He's getting cut.
He's getting cut. I'm going to trade him for a second. That was my thing. I'd trade anybody for a second back in the day. But Jason, so the Carp says he has, he's not in the picture, but he has Jason Witten and Greg Olsen. And who needed it? I think Travis in our league of record needed a tight end. And he's like, no one will give me anything substantial. Now is the time to not be looking for substantial for guys like Fitz, Witten, Olsen.
Jason Witten retired once already.
Yeah. He's done.
Greg Olsen thought about it. He was up for a booth job as well. So,
And he's at the end of the line. I mean, a year or two.
Yeah.
also, the Carp says you're not in contention. So, okay, you got these teams in Dynasty every single year, not in contention. We're going into week 9. I'm not going to name names because I really like this dude a lot. But I tried to make a push. We'll know who we're talking about. For Cortland Sutton, okay? Dude has next to no one besides Cortland Sutton that really has any kind of value. And if you're not in the hunt, this dude's 1-6, 1-7, something like that. and he says, no, man, I'm not trading Cortland Sutton. Dude's a stud. Okay.
But what are you offering him? Let me ask you that, because I'm not trading Cortland Sutton for 2 seconds.
But,
No, I'm not either.
no. But what if it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a second, a good linebacker, a bye-week kind of running back, a maybe 2 seconds in Valdez-Scantling? There's got to be
If I'm 1-6, like you got to decide the point to where like my team's not good, and I've got to start looking at rebuilding.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling's going to be a third-year guy. You got to look at guys just because they aren't doing what Cortland Sutton's doing right now. The bottom line is Cortland Sutton is a low-end wide receiver 1. Now, I'm not bashing him for not taking the deal. I just question, you're going nowhere. You only have 1 or 2 guys of value. The only way you're getting somewhere is to acquire picks and a player or two that could start for you next year, that you may have a good idea could start for you next year. Like the Carp says, he has Budda Baker.
Okay.
Again, not a whole lot else. And he says, I am not trading Budda Baker. Dude's a stud. Okay.
He is. Absolutely is a stud.
You're right.
However, on a rebuild, where do you start?
yeah, you can't build off Budda Baker.
You got to start on offense.
You need, if the only guy I got is Cortland Sutton or Budda Baker, if I have 2 to 3 solid startable players, they're getting dealt. I'm stockpiling picks. I've got to do something to get in contention. And if you've only got 1, 2, 3 picks next year and only 2 good players, those 3 picks are not all going to be studs. You're not getting there with those. You have got to find a way to fill out your roster with startable players. And much like the crappy Miami Dolphins, who have no one, they're trading everyone of value. Kenyon Drake is gone.
Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil is gone. As much as I hate seeing that, those guys are
Minka.
Yeah, those guys are only around for 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years. They need a lot more players than those guys. So stockpiling picks is really the only way they're ever going to get back in contention. That was the only way the Browns could. It's not working right now thanks to Baker flipping Mayfield. But
let's, on the same line, though, right? These guys, if you're going to wait and try to win with your own draft picks, and that's all you're going to try to do, like, you're like 7 years out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're that far behind, and even if you're hitting, you hit on your first rounder, you hit on your second rounder, you hit on your third rounder. I always tell people a 4th rounder and a 5th rounder, those are just scratch-off lottery tickets.
Right.
If you win, you probably aren't winning big.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, It's not like hitting the Mega Millions. Are you going to hit one of the number 1 overall running back? More often than not, yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing these teams could be doing. You've got some draft picks. There's other teams in the same position as you, as the position being not winning this year. Maybe deal your draft picks and try to acquire some guys. I saw a guy, well, it was the Carp. What does the Carp say?
Would you still bash on the Carp? I like the kid.
He's a nice guy. I'm not trying to, he's first-year dynasty. It's no big deal. I'm just trying to put out some advice there. You've got draft picks. People are offering you good players that have went to IR. This is a great time to acquire.
That's a big
IR.
one. Absolutely.
It's huge.
Absolutely. If there's a stud on IR, I'm telling you right now, I mean, first, second rounders first, an absolute stud that's on IR all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers went on IR and someone's like, I'll give you, if I have a second rounder, I would definitely be offering a second rounder, maybe even a late first.
Yeah.
For Aaron Rodgers.
And Carp says, people just keep offering me IR players. Like, if they're good and you're not winning this year, those guys are going to play next year.
Right.
Grab them.
Mm-hmm.
Get them. Get them, son. Get them. Like, how many teams have we seen? Den Carter, League of Record, guys, 2 years in a row champion. How one of the factors that have went into him winning titles, he grabs IR players at the end of the year on the cheap. Guys that are going to produce the next year. That's been one of his main strategies for a long time. That should be everyone's main strategy, whether you're in position to go to the playoffs or not. If you can buy an IR player cheap that is a producer, do it, especially if you're a low-end team right now.
And don't let other people talk you out of that trade.
Oh God, that's a good
That's
point.
a killer for me. Like, I'll talk to somebody and have a trade talked out, and then it's a fair trade. Nothing like crazy. I'll go back to one that I had a couple years ago. It was literally Travis Kelce for Jarvis Landry. Even their statistics were almost identical.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'll give you Travis Kelce. All right, dude, sweet. That's a deal. I shoot over the offer. It sits there for 3 days. And then I get a response back like, dude, I'll never trade a wide receiver for a tight end. That's stupid. I'm like, it's not a tight end. It's the tight end. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? Okay, I mean, it's your team. Do what you want, but my God.
Yeah,
I don't go to other guys that's in your league for trade advice either.
That's a terrible idea.
Unless you know them well enough to know
Right.
that they're going to be honest with you. Like, look at the trades that they make, and are they ripping people off horribly?
Right. And if they are,
They're
that's a shit league to be in.
Yep.
Crap
I've seen
league
it.
to be in.
I've seen it. I mean, I've got a guy he has Saquon, all right, in another league. I said, what do you want for Saquon? And he looks at my team. He goes, Melvin Gordon and DJ Chark.
Done.
I shot the offer over.
That's fair, too, right now.
It's sat there for, I think, 10 days now.
Did I not call that one? Remember I said
Oh,
he
yeah.
would, it's not going to
He
happen.
also
now.
hasn't been on the league yet.
Yeah.
It's like,
10
dude,
days.
10
He probably
days.
should have been.
He said, I don't know if he said a full roster last week,
I
honestly.
think dude needs
That's
kicked
awful.
out.
Awful. But yeah, I mean,
Kick him out.
here's I've said this before on the show. Quit being afraid to lose a trade. Like, listen, everyone's going to win and lose some deals. It's going to happen. Me and Hux just made a massive one. Massive one. And according to Twitter, I'm losing that deal. It was like
really?
65-35. Yeah.
I didn't even see that. I didn't see that you put it on there.
Oh yeah, any trade that I had to think about, I'm posting it just
I
to see
usually
what
do,
everyone
too.
else thought. We're not sitting up here claiming to be the end all of experts.
We're not?
No. We have passion about the game, and we love to play it, and we love to talk about it. So you're an expert, Arms. I'm sorry. But so me and Hux, here's the thing. Hux decides at 5-3, which is crazy to think about, that he's going to go ahead and pack it in for the season. And it's warranted because that whole conference is 5-3 or better
Yeah.
almost.
I mean, the wild card's 6-2,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then 8-0. So I mean,
while your team is solid, it's not, it wasn't going to go the distance.
no, I mean, I decided that 3 weeks ago when I started trading off Julio and Mike Evans, and
right,
for
right.
whatever reason.
And
I just love how you have like two of the top 5 receivers, traditionally in the league. You're like, I'm just going to move them.
Well, listen, at the beginning of the year, I arguably had the best wide receiving core in the league, and
yeah.
now my
don't
best
have
wide receiver is Michael Gallup. So,
It happens. Me, on the other hand, I'm not going the distance either. My team is underperforming. I keep facing juggernauts. They keep, getting the best of me. I think I've got like the second most points against. But I'm looking at my team and I'm like, it's not good enough to go all the way right now. Like, I could get lucky, but the difference between me and Hux is I'm in a weaker conference. So I have an open window.
Yeah.
So me and Hux make the deal. And I send him Patrick Mahomes.
Your most points against, by the way.
Of course I am. I send him Patty Mahomes. I send him David Johnson, Chase Edmonds, and a first-round draft pick. He sends me back Lamar Jackson, Royce Freeman, Keenan Allen, and a second.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that's a pretty fair deal on any day, in my opinion.
I think so.
Because honestly, I think you could have 2 starters at running back next year. I really don't expect DJ to be there next year. Chase Edmonds, Kenyon Drake
That's
won't
the
be
thing.
there
They're
either.
both under.
Right.
But there was
DJ's
also a first and
DJ's
second rounder involved in this trade.
Yeah.
There was, but David
DJ's
Johnson,
under contract for 2 more years, and
He
Evans
is,
there for 3 more years.
but
so.
he seems to be slowing down
Yeah,
or breaking down. Little Devontae Freeman thing going on. Nicky Knack, my back, my neck, my back, lick my. And
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
right, exactly. So we've got this deal, and it must have been pretty fair because not one league mate has said a single word about it.
No.
No, it's a good trade. I'm
was-
looking at.
I
I
think it
have
was
it
a
in
good
front of
trade.
me. It's Lamar Jackson, Royce Freeman, Keenan Allen in
I
a
was
second
correct.
Yeah.
for
You said it right.
Mahomes, Edmonds, Johnson, and a first.
Exactly what the hell is what I said.
That's what
On
was said.
I didn't hear you say the draft picks. My bad.
Please try to pay
My
attention.
bad. I don't pay attention to it myself. We all know that.
But yeah, so we've got this deal. It kind of gives me a chance to maybe run the gauntlet at the end of the season. Maybe not. That's the crazy thing. You never know. Like Michael Gallup could have 200 yards and 2 touchdowns next week. You just don't freaking know. It's fantasy
hope
football.
But with that being said, all right, you're in a situation to where if you're going to win, you've got to make your push now, and Patrick Mahomes is questionable.
Yeah, and I didn't hurt myself that much.
Yeah.
It's not like I screwed my team,
No.
but I do hate losing Patrick Mahomes, and I do hate losing. I really kind of hated losing Chase Edmonds in that deal because, if he is the successor to David Johnson, that's a good offense to have the starting running back in. Kenyon Drake's not going to be there next year. He's free
I don't know.
agent. They might. If he plays really well, they might lock him up, but I doubt it. I kind of doubt it. They'll probably.
Can we transition that over to Kenyon Drake at this point?
Absolutely.
So, I know you're a big Kenyon Drake guy.
I am.
Yeah,
I
and,
have been for a long time.
and everyone kind of was against it. I mean,
The whole Midwest Expo was against it. Whenever they drafted Kalen Ballage, I shook my head, and like 2 rounds later, grabbed Kenyon Drake. They shook their heads, and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Kenyon Drake's worthless. Kalen Ballage is the man."
in
I was like,
Miami, he was.
yeah, but Kalen Ballage doesn't have a
Everybody
fraction.
apparently in Miami is worthless right now at running back.
Well, here's the thing: Kalen Ballage don't have the talent Kenyon Drake does. Kenyon Drake sucks because Miami sucks.
I
And
mean,
that was proven last night.
I'll be honest. I mean, I watched the whole game. And sitting there like, and I threw a flyer in on DFS, like, whatever. I'll throw Kenyon Drake in. He probably doesn't even know the offense.
Great move, especially
And-
considering he faced the Niners.
I'm like, wait, what? The Niners have basically shut down everybody. I mean, even the great Nick Chubb, who scored or had over 100 yards against the Patriots. The Niners had him, below 90, which is impressive. I mean, Chubb's had a hell of a year. And to think I think Drake has the second highest yards this year against the 49ers, and it was like 110 on the ground.
Yeah.
And plus what he did in the air, and he looked
52 more than
looking completely competent all the way around.
Kenyon Drake is seriously a really solid running back. I'm not trying to crown his ass, but Kenyon Drake's a good player.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
got speed. He can get to the edge. He can run up the gut. Even he can break tackles. We saw that last night. Like, he's a good player that's been stuck on a really bad team.
And he's been stuck behind his whole career, college, everything. He was the
Yeah.
second, third stringer at Alabama.
Look at Josh Jacobs.
Never really
Yeah.
gave him given the chance in Miami to really carry the load. He was always iffy on him. He'll once these guys are healthy in Arizona, he'll be just a committee there, and then maybe next year he'll go somewhere where he can be the feature guy.
Right.
But I wonder. I mean, David Johnson hasn't looked good. Kenyon Drake last night
He
looked
put up-
better.
he- I
He's
don't
putting
know.
up numbers,
He's
but
putting up
David
these
Johnson
numbers.
has not looked that great besides being a pass catcher.
And he's very, very injury prone, unlike Kenyon Drake, who stays pretty much healthy.
Yeah.
Well, now.
I know, but like
Right.
David Johnson's consistently, basically, it seems like every year and finished the season on IR.
I've moved him in every league, and it's nothing against him. Like, it could bite me straight in the butt, but
A lot of people had him as a top 5 or 6 running back.
he was performing that way
Yeah.
until recently. I mean, I had no intentions on trading David Johnson.
Talent wise,
whatsoever.
situation wise, he is a top 5, 6 guy, but he can't. Them nagging injuries are just.
Right.
He's getting up there. What is he? 27, 28, 27, 28.
27.
He's getting up there. Where they're just gonna.
He'll be 28 this year.
But
Eat-
that's where
eat at 'em.
that's where that deal worked out for both of us. You get Chase Edmonds as insurance,
Yeah.
and I got a guy in Royce Freeman who's not as talented as David Johnson, but maybe is
I
in
got
an
6
okay
I
situation.
got 6 days. He probably won't be on my team.
Who, David Johnson?
Either one of
I
them.
hope he's not. Like I would move him right now and maybe that's what we need to transition to. Like, who are we moving right now? And Cardinals backfield, I'm moving them. I'm keeping Chase Edmonds if I can trade David Johnson without including him, which I did in the Brill, the Back Row Invitational League. I moved David Johnson today for, it's kind of crazy, but Duke Johnson and Devin Singletary. I grabbed both of those
I like
guys
it.
for David Johnson just because I need a running back this week for one, and for two, I just need some guys that give me 10 to 15. David Johnson, he's not giving me 10 to 15 at least for a couple weeks.
Did you
But
say Duke Johnson was in that trade?
Duke Johnson and Devin Singletary.
I don't
I
mind.
was-
I don't
I
mind
was happy.
Singletary, but
I
Duke
don't-
Johnson's been a pretty big disappointment.
Catching passes though. I mean, he's putting up, his floor is 8 and his ceiling's like 15 at this point, and that's what I need right now. So I did the deal gladly for now and for the future because I still love Devin Singletary.
Yeah, I
for
like
the future.
Singletary.
But who else? Who else are we?
I'm
Who
try-
should you sell right now? I think number one priority to me is getting rid of David Johnson. Number two, Browns.
Well, see, I don't know. I mean, if you can still get decent value out of Odell Beckham Jr., absolutely. You know,
and you should be able to.
You should be able to,
absolutely,
yeah.
because he's not over the hill by any stretch of the imagination. Still an incredibly talented guy, but just a bad situation. It's not working out for him. My number one move right now, like I'm trying to, if I have any of the San Fran running backs, I'm gonna try to come off of them because are they performing great? Absolutely.
I like
But
Breda as a buy low a lot.
But it's almost but it's so close to like the Patriots backfield right now for me.
I don't think it's that bad.
But
think
I don't.
it's-
I wouldn't mind owning the Patriots backfield. James White is relevant
Yeah.
most weeks. Sony Michel's relevant most weeks.
Yeah. So sometimes you got to overlook the fact that they're not pure studs. I need 10 to 15 points right now.
But what I'm saying is, if you can get it for a sell high and that's your number 3 guy,
I don't think you can sell high on those guys right now.
Tevin Coleman had
Coleman
4
might- you might be-
touchdowns
you-
2
you
weeks
might be
ago.
able to
Not
on
after
Coleman.
last night. Beretta was the
Yeah,
better back
he
last
was.
night.
I mean, both of them I think are top 15 in rushing in the last 5 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Niners all of a sudden threw the ball well too.
Yeah,
I
4
think
touchdowns.
a great buy candidate is Emmanuel Sanders right now. Like Emmanuel Sanders is probably going to be pretty solid the rest of the way.
I traded Golden Tate and I don't even remember who for Emmanuel Sanders and actually it was Golden Tate and somebody for Eric Ebron, Emmanuel Sanders, Dallas Goedert, and AP.
You needed AP that week.
I had to have AP, and I didn't want to get rid of Golden Tate for Emmanuel Sanders, but obviously it's looking like it's going to work out for me.
It's sort of a wash.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, I just in another league, I just traded Emmanuel Sanders, and I'm out of the playoff. Well, I'm probably a game or 2 out, but I traded Emmanuel Sanders for Derwin James, straight up.
That's
And,
fair.
I
I got no
mean,
problem with that.
you know, I'm
That's
looking.
great.
I'm looking to next year. I just got a top 3 safety.
Right.
So,
and
and
Emmanuel Sanders could. I mean, I don't think he's packing it up. He'll
I
probably
mean,
play
he's
another
32,
year,
but I mean, you
year
know, I-
2, 3.
I thought it was pretty good, and I didn't really need Sanders. I got some young receivers that can fill in. Hopefully,
Well, and that's the hard part about Dynasty. Like Emmanuel Sanders, could he retire next year? It's unlikely, but he's 32. He could.
he could.
He could. I mean, he could get a concussion from now until week 16 and decide that's it for me. And you got Derwin James, so
Yeah.
you've got value. Sometimes you have to cut bait for value. That's where we go back to the cart with Witten and Olsen. And dude, there's a time. There's a time where you got to cut bait and just take your chance. If they play another 2 years, yeah, sorry, but
Yeah, I'm trading them guys.
Gotta
Witten-
get your
I'm
value.
trading Witten for a 4th and not looking back.
no, not at all.
I've got
Me too.
I've got another buy low candidate that most people don't realize is performing as well as he is, and we talked about him when he came into the league. It's Dallas Goedert.
He's,
I mean, last 3
he-
weeks in a row, 8 targets, 4 targets, 5 targets, but he caught 5, 4, and 3, and 2 touchdowns that time span.
And Ertz is what? How many years Ertz got left
Like
on his deal?
3. Ertz
his
has
deal.
quite a deal left.
Does he? He got.
But
yeah,
but
okay.
who's to say that he's not going to get moved? Because it seems as though they're starting to transition to Goddard as far as their pass catching tight end.
Ertz the last 3 weeks, just on the other end, he hasn't been performing at all.
NFL teams are similar to dynasty teams, honestly. Like Philadelphia, hey, we've got this trade piece that could help us get a better defense or, get a better lineman. Let's move him. Hey, we got a question real quick from Josh Twinter. That's a nice last name.
Maybe it's Josh
never-
T. Winter.
T. Winter. Josh T. Winter. What you, I'll read it as it lies. What you guys think? Flex Chark, Houston, Flex Chark against Houston, or Mac against Pittsburgh, non-PPR. I'm going Chark.
I'll go
I'm going-
Chark.
I'm going Chark.
I think Chark has a better chance to get into the end zone.
Like he almost always does.
Almost always does. Houston's got a pretty solid offense, even without Will Fuller. So Chark's target share is crazy right now. He's getting targets out the ass right now.
In 8 weeks, he's got 61 targets, 660 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
Right, and Mac is very peaks or valleys.
That's not bad. I mean, I don't think you
No.
got a bad decision to play there either way.
No, but I think Jacoby Brissett is going to have a really solid game throwing against Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's starting to come into they're starting to become a little bit more Pittsburgh, just a little. So I like Chark. I
See,
think-
I'm on the other end of that. With T.Y. Hilton out this week, I think they're going to focus on the run. And
Not if Pittsburgh gets up on them.
well, that's why I said I don't think Mac's going to.
Neil just said the same thing. Hilton is out.
Yeah, that's why I don't like Mac this week.
Yeah, but so this is going to be a start of mine, but DJ Chark is a start of mine because Houston's bottom 4 in the league in yards allowed
yep.
in the air, and they're bottom 4 in passing touchdowns.
And they have Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, and their running game is just okay. They're going to be throwing, which means
It could be a shootout.
they're going to be up by 7 or 14 for a lot of the game, which means our favorite quarterback of all time, Gardner Minshew, is going to have to be thrown to the Charkster.
Which is another start of mine, so I'll leave that out.
Hey, I'm okay with just talking about the starts on our way through this journey. We've never done that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Screw it. So yeah, and like Huck said, Hilton's out. Neil's pounding the keyboard right now saying Pascal. I think that's a fine play too.
Yeah.
I think you might even see Paris Campbell have a decent game for once. Can we go ahead and say Dwayne Haskins is a sit?
Yeah, I'm
Considering situation.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the worst time to bring
Only
him
brought
in.
it up because of arms.
You could have brought Dwayne Haskins in when you played freaking Miami.
Yeah, you could have, and you should have.
But instead, you're like, hey, we're going to play him against top 2 or 3 passing defense in the league.
In Buffalo.
That would have been the way to get him
In
some
November.
confidence.
It's gonna be cold.
It's getting cold.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the guy.
No.
As much as I love Dwayne Haskins, you have to pass.
Oh yeah,
You have to pass.
And we're not being serious. No one's starting Dwayne Haskins.
No.
I mean,
But
I guess if you have bye weeks.
Bye week injury.
you
I
could.
mean, Phil's got to start Haskins this week.
There's got to be. I'd rather start Brandon Allen of the Broncos than Dwayne Haskins this week.
Yeah, I would too. Allen at home against the Browns, I'd start him over Haskins.
Oh yeah, yeah. Baker Mayfield will give him the ball plenty of times. What's wrong? Is Baker gonna? Is he gonna turn it around or no?
Yes.
I'm starting to
Eventually.
think. I'm starting to think it's not happening. I'm starting
Listen,
to think.
they have to get that O line fixed. And listen, I'm firing Freddie Kitchens at the end of the year.
Oh,
Why does he
done.
still have a job?
I'm
I'm done
I'd
with
fire him now.
Yeah, I mean that's
Now.
what I'm saying. I think he's done.
I mean, you right now,
Listen, the only
you
way
fire
to
him,
get,
bring in an interim head coach, and you see if you can pick up like a Lincoln Riley in the offseason.
how many times does it spark a fire under a team when the coach is gone? Fire Kitchens today.
It sparked a fire last year.
It did. Do it again.
The Browns had an okay season last year. They're paper champions this year in the offseason.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
And they look like, wow, okay, so you've got not only a stud running back, but a stud running back that's suspended going to be coming back.
Hey, and I'll admit, I fell for that paper championship. I didn't
did
think they
too.
were going to win a
I
title.
really did.
I didn't think they were going to
No.
win a title, but I thought they were a playoff team.
I expected 10, 11 wins.
Yes.
I didn't fall for it. Just
Well,
want to clarify. It's still the
But
Browns.
I mean, it is crazy to watch how undisciplined this team is. It's just
crazy.
the penalties every week. It's just because the talent is there.
Yeah.
Hey, so I do have a question.
So much
Speaking
for that
of- speaking of
LSU
the
wide
Browns.
receiver tandem doing damage.
So I thought Kareem Hunt's suspension was only 6 games.
8.
8 games.
8 games? Okay. Because he's still suspended in his week 9. And I'm like, what
was
the
it,
heck?
Was
They
it
had
10 games?
They had a bye week.
They had a bye week.
They had a bye
Okay,
week. But
okay.
Back
I
next
thought it
week.
was 6 games. So I'm sitting there like, I've got him in another league. I'm like, all right, time to fire up Kareem Hunt. And I'm like, wait, what?
But are we looking at Kareem Hunt as someone you would? I'm not.
That league is a total rebuild.
I'm not even
like-
seeing him being picked up in redraft.
I have Miles
I haven't-
Sanders
yeah, I haven't
and
seen him
J.D.
picked up.
McKissick starting right now
Yeah.
because Kerryon Johnson's hurt.
I do expect him to get some run, though. I mean,
Oh yeah, he's the backup. Dontrell Hilliard, he'll get more run than Hilliard was getting, but I'm gonna give myself the old Barry Horowitz if anybody gets that reference. And I said in the beginning of the season I'm not worried about Kareem Hunt because Nick Chubb is gonna do enough to hold on to that job 100%. He might lose 3 to 5 carries a game.
Yeah, I don't-
maybe. But then again, Kareem Hunt could set him up to get the same or 3 to 5 more because he keeps the offense on the field. So.
I mean, unless Kareem Hunt has a hot hand, I don't expect him to get 8 to 10 touches max a game.
I don't even think Kareem Hunt is as talented as Nick Chubb.
No, but
I think it's closer than we want to admit, but Nick Chubb is pretty special.
It's not that I don't want to admit it. It's how many guys have we seen? The Chiefs can basically give the ball to any running back on their roster. Darrell Williams has looked good. Damian Williams in limited run is fine. LaShawn McCoy, when they give it to him, he's fine.
I don't know, because the Chiefs' running game's been lackluster this year.
Well,
Yeah,
they don't have a bell cow. They're not feeding anybody. And Patrick Mahomes has been out a couple games.
There's multiple
Tyreek
reasons.
Hill's been out. There's Sammy Watkins has been out.
Literally, the only thing they've had
Injury
consistent is Travis Kelce. The only consistency on that
He's
team
not-
is Travis Kelce.
He's not even been that consistent this year, has he?
I'm talking about with health and availability.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
But back to Kareem Hunt. Like I'm not going to say he's going to get into a timeshare, but the passing the ball is certainly not working. So, if you've got one of the best running backs in the league in Nick Chubb and a very, very good spellback, I mean, run the damn ball. That we might be looking whenever Hunt comes back, we might be looking at a situation where they're going to start running more than the Niners.
Yeah.
I just don't
Why?
see it.
Why wouldn't they?
Oh, why?
Shorten the
I
game.
mean,
The line
they should.
The,
They got to do something. The line's
the
trash.
line. They're not going to run the ball as much because of the line.
Yeah, but we're saying that about the line. But here we are looking at Nick Chubb having 110, 115 yards a game. Like the lines, they're apparently run blocking.
Yeah.
I don't think they are. I think Nick Chubb's that good.
It's the NFL.
Nick Chubb's pretty good. I mean, holes. That's what she said. Holes that a lot of guys can't get through because of the line being lackluster. Nick Chubb can get through because he's freaking Nick Chubb. He's beastly. Let's switch gears for just a minute. I don't know if you guys were with me on the Josh Gordon watch 2019.
I was.
Twitter was erupting with Josh Gordon tweets just because we all wanted to know who claimed him on waivers.
What team's he going to get suspended on?
Right. So Twitter just erupted. Like, they announced that Josh Gordon was claimed. We pretty much knew he would be. Like, that wasn't that much of a surprise. What was a surprise was we're not going to tell you who claimed him because the team has not made it official or announced it because they want to let go of whoever lost their spot first. Shit, Hux. I am super freaking sorry about that.
You damn dummy.
I went to grab this because in the last live stream, this thing was there the whole time, and these bars blocked that beer. And I will literally lick the beer off your pants, sir.
You're good.
Do
Let's go.
it. Do it.
That
Oh, is that what we're doing right now?
I'm glad
Licking
you're-
my pants.
I'm going to go outside while you guys do that. There's people.
Hux, I apologize. I saw
you're
this
good.
thing, and yeah, I feel really crappy
So-
right now.
Anyways,
Value. Josh Gordon. Value. What do you think?
I'm
do
gonna
you,
turn
do
the
you-
heater on.
Do you honestly think that he is? Because right now, I think he might be the best receiver on that team.
I mean, you could put him on a lot of teams to say he's the best. I mean, the guy is talented, but
He's not what he was.
You want
obviously,
my coat for your legs, Hux?
no, I'm good.
he's not what he was. Obviously, but man, like it wouldn't surprise me if Josh Gordon had a better second half of the year than he was having the first half with the Patriots.
I feel bad.
You're good, buddy. I'm a little wet now, but
That's what she said.
I doubt it.
I don't really have any kind of expectations for Josh Gordon.
But no, I mean that he goes into a great situation. I mean, he's not going to be expected to be that number one.
But he's good enough to be.
He's good enough to be the number one. Yeah.
Here's the thing: he goes in with a good quarterback
Oh yeah.
who has a tendency to lock onto a guy and feed him. And if he can build the chemistry, Josh Gordon could have a really good second half.
He could.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you Josh Gordon's going to be like a top 10 receiver second half. But if I have Josh Gordon, which I do in a couple of leagues, 3 weeks ago, before IR, I couldn't trade him. Like nobody was offering anything. Right now, it's like, all right, trade deadline inspiration. I'll just hang on to him. Whatever.
Yeah, I picked him up today in one of my redraft leagues. He was available, surprisingly. But yeah, I picked him up.
It's not surprising in a redraft, though. If people weren't listening to the show, they didn't realize that people come back by being cut from IR.
Yeah.
Crazy. You called that one last week.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that info was out there, but I didn't know it. You did. And that's exactly what happened.
I stole it from the Fantasy Focus podcast.
Stole it
And
right
I believe
off.
I told all of our listeners. I mean,
Yeah. Little known fact: all of our sits and starts, we just take them from no. We don't.
That's entirely not true.
We don't.
I mean, I copy them off Twitter.
I mean, I copy my DraftKings picks off Hucks.
I'm sorry.
I don't.
Neither one of us are winning anything then.
You just won $4,000.
I won $2,000 on
$2,000 last
basketball.
night. Yeah, you know.
Dude, I'm sitting there looking at names that Hucks has starting to basketball. Like, who the hell is that?
I played basketball
Who the
tonight.
hell's that?
I'm waiting to. I have no idea where I'm sitting. I always wait till all the games are over.
I played a free game on basketball. It's like, if you enter $10, I'm like, that's going to happen.
I'm the dumbass that like gets the notification like join tonight's tournament, blah blah blah. For a while, I thought they were all free, and then I get my lineup all set. I go to enter, and it's like $10. And I'm like, well, shit! I just spent 20 minutes researching to figure out my.
Of course, I've got to do it.
I'm spending $10.
Hey, I'm playing
Yeah.
I'm playing on house money right now, so it's like I'm popping $40 or $50 a game slate.
I'm also playing on house money. I keep
I'm
winning
still
10
not.
and $11. I'm not really getting far ahead, but I'm like it's like Vegas. Like we go to Vegas. Well, we used to go to Vegas all the time, and I'd usually walk away even. And I'm kind of that's what I'm doing in DraftKings.
I do a little
right
bit different in Las Vegas.
You're
I
doing
drink
better than a lot of people then.
I drink a lot of free alcohol, and I just assume that $2,000 I lost over the course of 4 or 5 days is about as much alcohol as I'm drinking at Vegas prices.
now. Right. I'm sorry, Hux. I feel like garbage. I spilled a beer on this man.
You should.
If we were in a bar, I'd already have a black eye.
You sure would. Bloody nose. I'd have threw you out the door.
Yeah, you're such a violent man, Hux.
We had this conversation earlier. You got to worry about the quiet ones.
It's true.
I mean, it's.
Don't
Yeah.
we, Mighty Mouse?
Don't sing it, bring it, old man. Get
I mean, I've
that salt and
gotten-
pepper beard out of here.
I've gotten less quiet over the years, and I guarantee I've become more likely to lose a fight because of it. And I'm sure of it. So we got Josh Gordon getting picked up. Trade deadline didn't bring anything super exciting, but what other guys do we expect to kind of turn it around? I actually think Baker Mayfield, I got him as a start this week, surprisingly, because I do think Baker is going to have a resurgence game. The only problem is I think he's going to fall right back off the horse. But I think he's going to get the ball plenty. I don't have faith in Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen, I think, is probably going to throw for like 225, a touchdown, and a pick. I think it's going to be a very pedestrian game for Brandon Allen. I think he won't fall too hard, but he won't rise too high either. Baker Mayfield, I think, will take advantage, have a Baker Mayfield of 2018-like game, but I don't expect it to last. So is there anyone else? Is there a name that you don't like that's a big name? Is there a small name that you do like this week?
Oh, I hate Lamar Jackson this week.
Oh, I'm
Hey,
not,
you're playing
I'm-
the
yeah,
Patriots.
I'm not playing Lamar. I just acquired him from Hucks, and I'm starting Jameis Winston.
Like the Patriots defense has scored more touchdowns against quarterbacks than quarterbacks have scored against them.
Now, because we said
That's
that-
ridiculous.
This
because
is the
we
best
said
team
that-
they've played.
It is.
I agree.
I mean, they've had a fairly weak schedule.
And I believe Baker threw for a touchdown against them.
He did.
I mean, so there is obviously that mobile quarterback thing that throws even the best of defenses off. But yeah, I'm going to steer clear of Lamar Jackson this week.
in regular leagues, it won't surprise me if Lamar puts up 25, which would be about 30 in our league. But I'm not taking the chance that he puts up 9 points. So Jameis Winston against Seattle. Seattle's pretty good. I think Jameis Winston's going to have to throw the ball a lot. Fortunately,
you can't run the ball.
no. Fortunately, in our league of record, interceptions don't hurt as bad as most other leagues, which kind of might need to change. But
So I'm looking at, you got Stafford against the Raiders and Derek Carr against the Lions at the same time. I'll take either one of them over Lamar Jackson.
I'm not.
I got them both down.
I don't have Derek Carr down. That's a no-go for me, Captain.
Okay.
You know, crazy thing. This is the Raiders' first home game since week 2.
I know. It's
Week
ridiculous.
2. This is week 9.
When was the last game that Derek Carr was a top 10 fantasy QB for the week?
Last week
Probably
or the
last
week
week or
before?
2. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, he
He's-
threw three. I think 3
Honestly,
or 4 touchdowns.
he's been pretty good this year.
He's probably the one player I have no idea how he's performed this year because the Raiders are
11
just
touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
That's pretty solid.
103 quarterback rating.
Outside of the Bears, after week 2, so he played Vikings 2 touchdowns, Colts got 2 touchdowns. The Bears with none.
Who in the hell's he been throwing to besides Darren Waller for all these weeks?
Darren Waller.
Darren Waller, buddy.
You don't need anybody else. The Packers, he threw for 2 touchdowns, and the Texans, he threw for 3. I mean,
That's solid. Kudos to you, Mr. Carr. I forgot about you.
and I mean, if you really want to look at it, he's not that far off
don't.
the touchdown lead because nobody's putting up eye-popping numbers this year.
No.
No. Patty Mahomes wasn't even putting up iPod. That
I mean, Patrick Mahomes might still be beating him on touchdowns on the year, but if that's the case, he's probably
He
beating
is.
half the league.
I mean, Patty got 12,
15.
15.
Dude, that guy. He's playing chess. I mean, he's so far ahead of the rest of the league at passing. I don't
know if he's. Yeah, no, he is.
No. I mean, he's missed 2 games already, right?
Yeah.
Or 1.5 games, and
Is it 2.5 games?
no, it's he missed against the Packers and went out early against the Vikings.
Yeah, so he's only
Or,
missed 1 full game.
Excuse me,
Okay,
the
okay.
Broncos. But yeah, and he's still at 15, and I think first place is at 17. That's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson has 17. You know, I don't even want to talk about it because Arms over there is going to be like, I told you so.
Oh,
I want
don't
look at
don't
his
do it.
I want to talk about it.
Don't do it.
Just looking at stats, Kirk Cousins is having
Yeah.
a solid year. These last few games, obviously, the start of the year didn't start too good.
I know, but like
He's only thrown 3 interceptions. I'm like, wow, 3 interceptions. That's it.
Yeah,
13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
he's a good quarterback.
Yeah,
he is. No, he is.
The problem early
But I wasn't
on was
expecting the stats to be that.
no opportunities early on. Now all of a sudden, I got to
Squeaky
give
wheel.
credit to
Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs.
No, Zimmer for not being hard headed. He wanted to run the ball, run. They're still running enough. Dalvin Cook's still good.
Was Zimmer their coach last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
This is like
got to
his
give him
third-
credit.
I was going to
third
say,
or
I
fourth
thought
year
he'd
there.
been there a while. But this is what he did last year. Whenever they were throw, they finished the season running.
I just got to give him credit for being able to adjust when he needs to adjust. A lot of head coaches, Freddie Kitchens,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, the Vikings won 4 in a row, and Cousins has 10 touchdowns to 1 interception in those 4 games.
And
so,
Diggs has been money.
money.
And I traded Diggs in one league, and I acquired him in another.
And we'll get back to the trade etiquette. And I am like, I'm not
Oh,
incredibly.
wait. You said I am like.
I must be the wrong one.
No. I'm not incredibly superstitious, but I just feel like sometimes just trading a player for a player of equal value, it just seems like it helps both people. You know what I mean? Like if you were,
Fresh starts.
yeah, if you were to trade, I don't know, like Odell Beckham for who's underperforming, right? I mean, who else is underperforming?
Jarvis Landry.
Well, I mean, that'd be, you're going down at that point. But
DeAndre Hopkins isn't
Yeah.
burning the world on
if
fire.
you trade, I don't think you can make that trade though.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to throw
I mean,
out
Golden
names.
Tate, Emmanuel Sanders,
Keenan Allen.
2 equal-ish players.
Keenan Allen's not tearing the world up. No.
If you trade those players, I just feel like they're going to
Juju,
Juju.
There you go.
If you could trade Odell Beckham for Juju right now, like just do it.
I would do it. I'd acquire Juju.
I would take Juju.
Yep.
But I feel like it's going to long term. Both
You can
players are going to
argue-
be better.
You can argue both ways for that. trade, though.
Absolutely. I don't.
Oh,
think
absolutely.
You don't know who's going to win it, but I would do it just to switch things up.
Hey, I asked Lambert. I said, dude, what about Odell Beckham versus with Juju? Just straight up trade. It's 2 equally talented players. When Odell Beckham plays, he's a top 5 guy. Traditionally,
Well, that was
pretty
the
much
case.
every season
Not this
until
season.
this year. Okay, but beginning of the season, guess who wasn't a top 10 quarterback? Kirk
Oh,
Cousins.
beginning of the season. Okay.
So I'm like, just trade me 2 guys who are under. I'll trade my underperformer. You trade your underperformer. Hopefully, it's just that weird luck thing to where it works out for both of us. No, I'm like, all right, whatever, man.
Well, that's what I did. I was like, Diggs is kind of went stale on me. I'm gonna move him, pick up Cooper Kupp. I think I got Cooper Kupp, Preston Williams, and Michael Gallup. I gave up more than just Diggs, but it worked out as far as Kupp. You know, I mean, it gave me a little bit of a fresh start. I don't know if I would have won any more games if I had Diggs. I don't think so because Kupp's been great. But sometimes you just that's what these teams that aren't doing anything, sitting on their fucking teams,
Whoa.
they're just sitting there doing nothing. Sometimes a switch up will just refresh your team. Sometimes trading a guy like Cortland Sutton, who's averaging, somebody pull that up for me as I talk.
Like 85 yards a game.
Well, I mean, averaging what, 13 points 13, 14 points a game. If you move him for a 10-point wide receiver and maybe a running back that's a 4 or 5 point upgrade on your second starter, it's the law of averages. You can better your team by getting rid of a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who might be putting up 40 points a game, for a guy like Lamar Jackson at 35, and a Keenan Allen who's going to give you 15 more points than Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Like, I hate to use myself as an example because, like I said, the deal is fair each way. But sometimes you have to look at the total picture. Budda Baker is not going to win you your league. Saquon Barkley is not going to win you your league. Saquon Barkley traded
Depends
for
on what else you got.
Saquon traded for the right combination of 2 starters that will equal out to more points than that one Saquon Barkley and your shit receiver. You build a good starting roster. Quit looking at guys like, I'm not trading him. He's a stud. You're not a stud. You're 1-7.
So, speaking of Cooper Kupp, is he the best possession receiver in the league?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you can, say, well, DeAndre Hopkins, he's a possession guy, but he's a big play guy too. But I think Cooper Kupp might be the best receiver in football.
You could argue Michael Thomas.
Yeah,
okay. I'll give you
think
that.
Michael Thomas
Yeah.
is the best.
I think Michael Thomas. I'll agree with you there because Michael Thomas is quarterback proof,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean,
he's a target monster.
so's Cooper Kupp.
No, I know, but
I mean, his
Michael
season
Thomas.
low is 6.
Michael Thomas catches Michael Thomas pulls down 8 to 12 a game like clockwork.
Cooper Kupp had 6, 8, 9, everything else above 10.
I love Cup. I'm just saying Michael Thomas is like the pillar of consistency right now. There is never a week, which Cup is getting there, but there's never a week you look at Michael Thomas and be like, should I play the matchup? No. Play Michael Thomas.
Okay. Who do you think has more fantasy points?
I thought Michael Thomas, to be honest.
I'm going to look this up real quick because I just looked at Cooper Kupp's numbers and they're
They're both
I'm pretty
great.
sure they're better than Michael Thomas.
Cubs had a great year.
Yeah, they're both great. I'm not like pounding the table against Cooper
No,
Kupp by any means. I'm just saying
I would rather have Michael Thomas on my team because
That's
I think
what I'm saying.
I think his overall upside is better, but is it? Cooper Kupp's had that 220 yards and and a touchdown. So Michael Thomas has 875 yards
already.
and 4 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp has 792 and 5 touchdowns. Thomas has him beat by 14 points.
I feel safer.
That's crazy.
I feel safer with Michael Thomas on my team.
And they have a mutual bye week this week, by the way.
Listen, the lowest output from Michael Thomas all year long, 16.4 points in our league of record. Cooper Kupp is a 5.7.
Yeah, he hasn't. Michael Thomas hasn't played the Niners yet.
I know, but I just feel, and this is not an argument. I'm not pounding the table like Michael Thomas is the guy to own from the 2. No, there's no wrong choice. This is open-ended. You like Thomas better?
Are they 1-2?
They're
fantasy
They're
points?
right now. Yeah, right now to me, it's 1A and 1B. Now, granted, if you want to go by average per game, Chris Godwin passes Cooper Kupp.
I personally, if we're going to talk about like who you want long term, Cooper Kupp's injury history obviously is concerning.
Yep.
One injury. I'm not gonna go
I think
crazy
he's
over
had
one.
2. I want to say he didn't finish 2 seasons in a row.
No, he's only been in the league. This is his 3rd season.
3rd season.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of course, it doesn't have all the stats. He was out the biggest part of last year, I believe.
This Cooper Kupp is just sweet. Like I genuinely love the guy. Now, granted,
He was injured, I think, in 17 and 18.
if he was injured in 17, it wasn't major.
I think it was at the very end of the year.
But
Literally, week 17, he didn't play, so I don't know if he's injured or not.
But yeah, I just feel a tad bit safer with Michael Thomas. Like if someone offered me Thomas for Cooper Kupp right now, I'm gonna do it. But I'm not giving any extra. Even if he wants like a 3rd, I'm not doing it. It's straight up or nothing. Well, I'll give you a back and forth.
I would
That's
probably
as
do it.
high
I'd
as
probably
I
do a
go.
third to get Michael Thomas.
That's high as I go.
But they're so close. I mean, it becomes a preference issue.
right.
So
It's as high as I go.
But I had the worry that, like, all right, Drew Brees is ending his career. He's kind of in the sunset. In a year or two, is Michael Thomas going to be that good? And based on what he did with Teddy Bridgewater, yeah, he is.
Right.
I mean, we're looking at someone who's got a higher ceiling than Nook does, because Nook was doing this with freaking Tom Savage.
Right. And to be clear, that's where it ends for me. If someone's like, I'll give you Chris Godwin for Cooper Kupp, I'm saying no. I'll give you Chris Godwin for Michael Thomas, I'm saying no.
What about Nook?
No.
You wouldn't take Nook for either one of them?
No.
Would you take Nook for Chris Godwin?
Yeah, I would.
If you had Nook, would you take Chris Godwin in that trade?
I want Nook over Godwin.
Okay. What about Devontae Adams?
Godwin's been great.
Thing is, I'm on the other side of you there. I'll take Godwin over Kupp.
Take Godwin over.
Really?
It's coin flip for me.
Oh yeah, it's all close.
I think it's a health issue for me, and I don't know.
I'm not as afraid of Robert Woods or Brandon Cooks as I am Mike Evans. To me, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're going to
alternate ridiculous weeks.
Exactly. And
And
to
they
me,
have.
Cooper Kupp is going to have more ridiculous weeks than both of them by year's end.
Maybe
So-
not more than both of them, but more than either one of them.
Right.
Because like Michael Thomas is like, oh, here's 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Here's 42 yards and no touchdowns.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, Kupp, Thomas, if I had a team with Michael Thomas and Cooper Kupp on it, you can give me whatever third wide receiver you want. I'll take Nelson freaking Aguilar. It's fine. Go ahead and give him to me. But
Yeah, I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, I know Godwin's got Mike Evans. I don't know. Godwin, I had to verify age. Godwin's 3 years younger. And that offense, the Arians runs, I just think, they're going to be throwing the ball nonstop.
But do you think Jameis Winston's going to be the guy next year?
And
Listen,
that's up in the air. If they don't think they can get any better, I think they could bring Jameis back. Maybe.
but if they don't and they bring a rookie in, that yardage could fall way
It
off.
could.
So I mean, I worry about that. Jared Goff's not going anywhere.
I think Tampa
Thomas
is
is
a
quarterback
team that's
briefly.
going to look to bring in a veteran, though. I think that I don't know. I don't think you can waste these guys.
Could be a veteran game manager.
It could be.
Could be Tom Brady in Tampa Bay next year or something, and I don't think he's getting those two wide receivers the same stats as Jameis Winston. Not because I think that Winston's better. He's not. But Jameis is more willing to toss the ball up, and those guys can go up and get
But
it.
I mean, it's the style of offense. You're still not running the ball if they don't fix the running back issue. And it's just the Arians' offense. They throw the ball.
They could fix that if they just
could.
gave Ronald Jones a chance. I'm not saying it would fix it. I'm saying they could.
No.
They could fix it.
They could.
Like,
Because he's shown he
he's shown more than Peyton Barber.
Oh, yeah.
So just give it a shot. Just try it. Try some Ronald Jones out.
How about try some O.J. Howard out?
I thought he was overrated for a long time, and
It's
we
not
have
even
differing
that. They
opinions,
just
but
don't
I
even-
think that's what it is.
I don't think it's that at all. He's just not getting the chance. They don't throw him the ball.
Well,
What's
when
he
you
get,
don't target somebody,
2 or 3 targets a game.
like it's just ridiculous. At this point, it's like, well, we
I don't know why
actually
they didn't
paid
trade him.
Cameron Brate. Like, I wish they would have traded him.
But I wish they would have too.
Okay, so Bauer helped us out. Thank you, Bauer. He says Cooper Kupp missed the final 2 preseason games in 2017 with a groin injury and was a healthy scratch in week 17 of that year. Otherwise, his only injury was the ACL. Healthy scratch, I believe, because they were in position. They were good in 17. Were they
Maybe
good
the
in
only
17?
thing that makes sense to me.
Playoffs, sitting their starters, something like that. Thank you, Bauer. But yeah, let's run through. We're at an hour and 2 minutes. We try not to keep you on the hook for too awfully long. Let's run through some guys. Arms, I know you've got some starts, sits, so on and so forth. Let's go around the table. We can talk about anything else in between, but let's throw at least some starts.
I'll just kind of recap the start and sit at quarterbacks. I'm going to start Minshew based on the matchup with Houston. I'm going to sit Lamar
Agreed.
Jackson. Same thing with the Patriots. I mean, once again, the Patriots have more whenever the quarterback throws the ball, the Patriots defense has scored more than the opposing quarterback's offense. That is insane.
It's historical defense.
So,
They face some crappy teams.
but
Yeah, they have.
But still, I mean, realistically, if you have Lamar Jackson, you probably have somebody else because he was a low pick this year. Nobody expected a ton out of Lamar Jackson
I did. I pounded the table for him at the Midwest Expo.
in general, right?
Put some respect on my name.
But if you're going to draft Lamar Jackson, you probably didn't draft him as your QB1.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Most people didn't because he was like one of the lowest rated passers last year.
I'm not most people.
No, you're not. You mentioned Carr and Stafford earlier. I'm starting both of them. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, which over-unders at 50. Both defenses allow around 300 yards a game. So I like both Carr and Stafford. Most of my picks are, as always, geared towards DraftKings. Stafford got a pretty good price increase. He's up to 6,800, but Carr's only at 5,500. I love Carr this week.
I'm gonna pull the politician flip flop. I like Carr this week too.
You just said you hated him like 5
You
minutes
did.
ago.
You guys enlightened me.
Okay.
I'm pulling the old the Hucks from the earlier episodes. Yeah, well, I like Carr. I like Carr now.
You should.
It's like the kid in the Simpsons movie when Bart rides a skateboard with no pants on. He's like, I like men now. I like Carr now.
You should.
The door's wide
MVP
open. Arms,
can-
you live in a freaking barn, bro.
The door's not open.
It just blew open.
It didn't.
It's
It's
locked.
latched.
I didn't even have any drugs this
Hold on.
morning.
There
Oh
it
no,
is.
it is. Oh, it scared the hell out of me. Oh my
It's
god.
Shane.
you're
That's
seeing
my
shit.
ride so I can drink and podcast.
Capper Curl is here. I got a middle finger. So, anyways, yeah, let's keep moving. Getting off topic, off track.
You guys have a sit?
I'm sitting Jacoby Brissett.
I'm starting Jacoby Brissett. I don't care that T.Y. Hilton's out. There's going to be
T.Y.'s
some
out.
guys that step up. Ebron's in. Marlon Mack is
Ebron's
there.
hurt though, isn't he?
No, he's
I
good.
think
He
I'd
practiced
have
it.
to look.
He practiced in full today. Ebron probably going to play. Paris Campbell probably going to. I think Paris Campbell's going to have a solid game. Zach Pascal, nothing to sneeze at. When he's gotten the opportunity, he's been fine. They're going to be playing from behind. I like Jacoby Brissett. I think I even think he's going to run for about 50 yards.
So to throw out that Paris Campbell, I mean that might be a sneaky dirt cheap play on DFS.
He probably is. I'd have to look it up.
Oh my God,
I
he
don't-
can't be expensive.
No, not
He's
at all.
done
He's
nothing.
probably 3,400, 30, right in that range. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, nasty game, 20-17. I just don't expect much, neither side. I mean, Steelers running backs are out, Connor's out, Snell's out, so Jalen Samuels was going to get all the work he can handle.
Great play.
Great play. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's only 4K on DraftKings. I mean, just
Yep.
lock him in. It's free square.
99% owned.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, he's going to be owned by everybody. Just put him in and, you're going to have to go different elsewhere.
Anyone else love
Campbell's
Devin?
$3,000 by the way.
Anyone else love Devin Singletary this week?
I can't say I love him because you don't know if they're going to give him the ball.
Okay. Do you
The
expect
matchup, sure.
Do you expect the Bills to have to throw the ball in the second half?
No.
Do you expect Frank Gore to get every carry in the second half?
Devin Singletary's $4,700 from DraftKings.
It's like I'm buying that all day.
You know,
because
fantasy-
Dwayne Haskins is not ready to perform in the NFL. It's obvious. If he has a good game, I will. I don't know what I'll do. What should I do?
But to have the pushback with this, all right,
I'll wear a bra.
to have the pushback that Hux is going to give you, his career high is 7 rushing attempts.
That was 2 weeks ago against Miami, which you would have thought he would have got the carries in that game.
And
he had 7 attempts.
I'm feeling it this
I'm
week.
just not. Yeah,
But on the
matchup
flip
is
side,
there.
against the Jets, he had 70 rushing yards. Against the Giants, he had 57 rushing yards and a touchdown. Like, there's potential, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not comfortable. I'll put him in as a flyer. I'll put him in a $1 or $2 matchup.
See, I think on paper, I think the Bills are more capable of beating down the Redskins than Miami
I agree with you, just for the simple fact they got a rookie quarterback starting his very first game, and Miami had Fitzpatrick, who obviously a veteran, played in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Rivalry game.
I just see a game where Bills are just going to be able to just kind of play around the second
Impose their
half.
will.
Yeah, I don't think the
I
Redskins
still don't think
are
he
going to
gets
keep
more
it
than
close.
10 touches this week.
I think Devin Singletary. I'll throw
But
a line.
he could break one for 70 yards though.
I'll throw a line at it. I throw 13 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown
that would be serviceable.
I feel like I'd rather.
for 40 some $100.
I think I'd rather start Miles
He's going
Sanders.
to catch some balls though too.
Against Chicago. I think I'd rather start Miles Sanders than Singletary, though.
No, not me.
That's Jordan Howard game all day there.
Dude, that
against his
kid's big
former team.
playability last few weeks. Sanders has been solid.
He has been.
But he's also nicked up. He's going to play, but
He's
he's
gonna
nicked
play.
up.
He's next to free. He's about as cheap as you get as a running back.
How much is he?
He's 4,600.
That's pretty cheap. I still like Singletary. I like Singletary just a little
Their
bit better.
points per game is 0.1 difference in favor of Miles Sanders.
Here's the reason I don't like Sanders as much. The Bears finally decided to run the ball last week. Time of possession, to me, is going to make Singletary a better play than Sanders this week.
See, I wonder if the Bears don't have the offense to be able to keep up with the Eagles.
Eagles haven't been that
They're not great.
offensively. And Deshaun Jackson might be back this week, though.
They're not.
That could be a factor. You could be right there if Deshaun Jackson comes back and does Deshaun Jackson-like things.
And
as
you
would
take
say.
more coverage off of the guy who's catching balls out of the backfield. Who's that? Miles Sanders. Sanders been good. He's not been great. He's been solid.
No, he has been
Basically,
good.
since they reduced his workload, he's looked like, oh shit, what's going on? I need to perform, and he has.
If they commit to him next year, he's going to be a guy that you don't want to miss out on in drafts.
That's a buy now guy for me. Everywhere you can find him, I'm buying Miles Sanders.
I'm with you. Jordan Howard's been pretty good though. I worry that the Eagles are going to stick with that formula because
I think
his
this
market,
week-
Jordan Howard's market's not going to be robust.
No.
So my start at running back, I'm going to start Carlos Hyde this week. Jaguars averaging over 100 yards a game against him. Just kind of porous, not what they have been in recent history as far
What
as on the
happened to the
defense.
shootout, Arms?
What do you?
Yeah, what are you
You
happened to the
expect
shootout?
you starting Gardner Minshew because you thought could be a shootout.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I'm not saying it all has to be through the air.
Okay.
My God, I'm just saying the Jaguars have porous run defense. Can you not score 35 points and still have 100 yards rushing? Yeah, you can.
Touche.
Okay. Anyhow, Carlos Hyde is going to get plenty of run this week because the
Alrighty.
Jaguars aren't that good at stopping the damn running. That's it.
Why are you angry?
Questioning my freaking call. What's your call?
My call?
Devin Singletary. Shit
Well,
call.
Devin Singletary was one of them. My second one, Robbie Anderson. Jets against the Dolphins. Robbie's going to have a chip on his shoulder from all the trade rumors from last week. He's not a popular play, but if you have an option that's as good as Robbie Anderson as your number 3 wide receiver in dynasty leagues, fire up Robbie Anderson. I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He probably costs what, 3,600, 3,800 in DraftKings.
I think he's in the 4K range. But
Is
yeah.
he really? If you
Either way, he's still low.
if you stack your lineup in DraftKings and all you got left is 4K, I wouldn't sneeze at Robbie Anderson.
He's
in
actually
that
even
one.
higher now. He's 5,500.
What? Okay, don't take him at 5,500.
What's Jameson Crowder then?
They
That's
must have-
stupid.
5,300.
No thanks to both of those.
See,
They must have priced.
Crowder's actually my play in the same game. I think Crowder's going to have a good game because, I mean, literally look at
Yeah, they raised both their prices because of the matchup.
look at that matchup. I mean, Miami allows huge plays to at least one receiver every game. Like usually 100 yards and a touchdown. They struggle against the speedy, shifty guys.
Somebody on the YouTube was like, somebody, I don't know who this is, said boring, and then a few minutes later said, like, if you're bored, why are you still watching?
Yeah, why are you still
Yeah.
watching?
It's like
You must have
If I turn the Kardashians on, I'm not keeping it on just because. Like, I'm turning that shit off. Bro, if you're bored, see yourself out.
It's almost
we're not offended.
Almost like the rating we got. Great, another fantasy football podcast.
Yeah.
It's in the title, you idiot.
There's a lot, like, I'm not going to bash on a crime great, another crime podcast. People love that shit. I'm not going to bash on it. My wife loves that shit. Anyways, thanks, Unrelenting Dark, for commenting nonetheless. You gave us 30 seconds of something to talk about.
You guys have a sit at running back? Or are you still going Hux?
Well, I was going
I
to
know
say,
you talk so much.
Obviously in season long, you're going to be starting Chris Carson no matter what, but in DraftKings, he's 7,200,
That's high.
but it's not really compared to the guys up top. Dalvin Cook's like 9,500, Chris McCaffrey's 10,000.
I'll take Carson.
And they're getting all the ownership. Carson's got, he's got a kind of a bad matchup stat-wise because the Buccaneers only allow 68 yards rushing a game. But he's projected at 6% ownership. Dalvin's projected at like 35%. McCaffrey's at 20-some%. There's several in the 20s. And, of course, Samuels is projected like 50% or more.
Carson is just that guy, and Neil will love this. It's like nobody gives him respect, but he keeps performing.
Neil, of course, Chris Carson, exclamation.
Well,
Chris Carson, bud, I'm telling you.
the game total's at 53 projected. And I just think in Seattle, Jameis is going to have some turnovers. They're going to run the ball.
What?
I think
Jameis?
Yeah,
No, not this week.
Literally his middle name.
I think Carson could have a couple touchdowns. I don't think he might not run for 150, but he could run for 80 and 2 touchdowns, and then you're going to get the low ownership. I'm going to go right into a sit. I'm sitting David Montgomery this week against Philly. I think that could turn into a passing game for Chicago. Maybe for whatever reason they're not using Tariq Cohen this year, but maybe he gets used.
I do think David Montgomery is set up for a letdown game, but I don't think I wouldn't sit him. I probably wouldn't buy him in DraftKings, but I'm not going to sit him.
So let me get this straight: a letdown game versus he's had one good game.
Listen,
But that was last week though. So
against the Chargers, but
yeah, Jesus arms. Coming
the
off of,
highs and lows. You're talking like the letdown game, like Tevin Coleman let everyone down.
I think a lot of people are thinking that David Montgomery's here to stay because the Bears should have won that game on his back last week, but the decision to kick the ball and not try to get closer, Nagy really drives me nuts. I think he should have tried to get closer. As many missed extra points as we've seen in the NFL this season, as many missed field goals as we've seen, get closer. Why he wants to say, I talk about him every week now. He wants to say, like, if we run the ball, we risk fumbling. Okay, if you kick it from 35 plus, you risk missing, dumbass. Freaking get it a little bit closer.
And it's the Bears, and you've had a little bit of an issue with misses. I know it's a different kicker.
Your
but
kicker's Eddie Pinero.
I love that guy.
Like, I want to go to his restaurant. I want to go eat at Panero Bread. Okay?
It's not.
He's not famous
that's
for
not a
kicking
place.
footballs.
It's not a place.
It is.
Panera.
You've never been to Panero Bread?
Panera Bread, no.
It's a place, man.
By the way, I'm going to sit AP this week. Bad matchup, the Haskins situation. Haskins could come out and have a great game. We could all be wrong. But you don't make your first NFL start against one of the better passing defenses in the league. It's just a bad situation all the way around.
Right.
They're going to most likely be able to stuff the box, and stack the box.
Stop the Bucks.
No, I said stuff the box.
Stuff the box. Ooh.
Yeah, stack the
Stuff
box, not stuff the box, and be able to definitely slow down AP versus what he's been doing
I'll
here
tell you
recently.
what.
He's performed well recently.
The guy that called us out saying boring and the F word, he's not stuffing the box tonight if he's sticking around for this. So maybe
definitely not
maybe you should go try
living
to
a
stuff
sad
some box.
life there.
Woo!
Wow.
Anyhow,
I don't really get offended. I just like getting good opportunities to say funny shit. Still sorry I poured that beer on your arms. Or Hux.
Jesus
Spilled.
Christ.
I'm the one with the wet pants.
See, I wouldn't have felt so bad if it was arms, but I
Yeah.
feel bad. That it's you.
He doesn't like me. It's okay.
I do like you. I just wouldn't feel that bad. You're a different breed.
Wide receiver. I've got one. I've got a sit. I've already named my start. My start was Crowder. My sister. I just have to, related to Haskins, I have to hold off on Scary Terry this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he'll be matched up with Tre'Davious White.
And we know. I mean, yeah. Oh man. Well, the chemistry. Yeah. Okay. Great. And Terry McLaurin's performed in basically every game he started.
He has.
I mean, Terry McLaurin literally looks matchup proof, and there is building chemistry. But man, it's still Haskins. What? It's going to be his 7th pass as a pro.
Yeah.
You know, come on. Like it might work out. We could all be wrong, but I'm not taking the chance.
We talked about him not putting up great numbers the last handful of weeks. Give me some Keenan Allen this week. Obviously, you're going to start your studs, but I think it's safe this week to start him. Now, granted, I don't hate Mike Williams either. The Packers are a pretty good team, and the Chargers are definitely going to be playing from behind.
I don't
think I got the hiccups.
Yeah, I like that call with Keenan.
Yeah,
I got Rivers as a start this week, so I like that.
I don't mind Mike either, and I don't think Hunter Henry just keeps putting up solid games. He's going to disappear a little bit.
By the way, someone I'm trading before the trade deadline, Hunter Henry.
Yeah, just the injury. Why he's playing pretty good. Trade him.
Oh, absolutely. And Lambert's trying to, but nobody's biting.
Yeah.
I don't know what he wants for him, but
that's what the
I ain't gonna
is.
pay it.
Yeah, that is the problem.
That's the problem. Sorry, Lambert.
Like in IDP, I'm trading
You offer
Hunter.
shit trade. Sorry.
I'm trading Hunter Henry for a couple top tier defensive guys if I can.
Well, listen, actually, I think Lambert's trying to throw out a wide receiver and Hunter Henry for a wide receiver upgrade.
I don't know, but I don't know if either one of them would do this, but he needs to offer Hunter Henry to Carp for Buda Baker. Do it.
Buda, he won't do it. He's not
But
trading Buda.
the guy needs tight ends.
He
He's
don't-
got Olsen and Witten. Get
The
a new
Carp-
tight end.
The Carp don't care.
I know he doesn't care. Make the trade.
Buda's a stud.
Make the
You
trade.
all right handling that alcohol, buddy?
I got the hiccups.
You
I'm
okay?
trying to take the. Anybody else use the 9-sip rule? Ugh.
Apparently, it doesn't work.
It does. I just keep trying to talk.
All right, the Miami Dolphins will win a game this week. I'm just joking. I wanted to
What?
scare you. I wanted to scare you.
Almost worked.
It's possible.
You're like, what?
This is one of their only chances they got.
Do they really have a chance?
They do, I think.
So, real quick. All right. I know we're wrapping this thing up.
Are we?
Are we?
I don't think so.
I thought we
go.
were. My bad. Sorry.
I mean,
Just because your nephew's here don't mean we're wrapping it up.
We're getting close.
You need to wrap it up if you're being active.
that just means
but
you can
doesn't
drink
mean we're
more.
wrapping
It just
up.
means you can drink more. He's here.
I got to work tomorrow.
So
It's 11.
It's a Saturday.
What time do
at
you
a
go to
bank.
bed?
I go to bed like 9:30, dude.
I do too.
Dude, I'm
honestly.
old as hell at this point, man.
Yeah, me too.
Little children just suck energy out of you is the problem.
Yeah.
You know what makes me feel better though? I ran into my cousin. You guys know
Garner.
Butcher, not
Okay.
Garner.
God, no.
Garner Minshew. You guys know Aaron Butcher.
Yeah.
Cousin. One of my favorite family members. Probably my favorite family member.
I didn't know you guys were cousins, honestly.
I didn't either.
Yeah, he's my cousin. So,
I
love.
think he's my mailman. Not 100% sure.
I like
yeah,
Butcher.
Great dude. So we're talking. He's a few years younger than me, like 4 to be exact. I think he's 34. I'm 38. But he was talking about getting to those mid 30s and having that chest pain from whether it's a taco or
Might be having a heart attack.
Yeah, like he described it the same way as me. Like, oh, this is it. This is it. This is how it goes down.
I just swallowed a very large bite of food, apparently.
Oh, it hurts. And then you're
I
fine.
know the feeling.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Every little pain just scares the hell out of it. It's like going back to the Back Row Talk Show, the mortality episode. I'm scared to death every time I get a chest pain. Like, oh, this is it. I'm trying to hurry up and dial everybody that I like. Hux, Neil, Lambert.
I know
love you
he's
guys.
trying to not say me. I see what he's doing. I get that way almost every time I eat mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm not even going to lie. It's like, oh, man, that was a huge bite. I shouldn't have done that.
Must be some dry potatoes.
No, it doesn't matter. It's like a mass like that. And I'm like, just stuff as many potatoes in as I can get.
I'm gonna throw you a bone, Arms. If you pull up my phone and look at my messages, the only person that has more messages then my wife is you.
Well, it's because we've been doing the same damn show for 2 years.
That's probably right. But
I didn't know you keep track of the number of messages you send somebody.
yeah, every once in a while I get bored and I count them.
That's the worst hobby I've ever heard. So, all right.
I have a lot of time on my hands.
So, you guys obviously, I know, Hux, you watch a lot of college ball. Are you guys done with your starts
Bauer
and
said,
sits?
"Don't worry, Arms. He forgot me too. I love you, Bauer."
Are you guys done with your starts and sits?
I wouldn't say I'm
I
done.
could ramble off some more names,
Well,
but
before you get into your
wants to get-
DFS stuff.
He really wants to get to bed.
I guess so.
No, I just want to ask. Right now,
Darius Slayton.
by the way, nice job, Dan.
Darius Slayton.
If the draft happened today, who's the number one pick?
McCaffrey.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
The
you're talking
NFL
about the
draft.
McCaffrey.
He's not available.
There's no McCaffrey coming out of college?
I don't think so.
Ah, shoot.
Probably. Like USC probably has a receiver or something.
Well, crap.
I don't know, man.
I think it's Joe Burrow. If it happened today, and
Didn't
hey,
we
listen,
do this last week?
I wasn't here last week. I don't know.
I talked to
Who
Ferris.
was? I was Lambert.
I don't know.
I got into it a little bit with Ferris at the beginning
Didn't
of the
listen.
season
I don't know.
and told him
I don't know either.
at that time, I'm like, game one, I'm like, dude, Joe Burrow at best is a back end pick. Like right now, at best, he's a back end pick. And I think this kid has played himself all the way to the number one quarterback taken.
I mean, he'll definitely be in discussion.
He's on his way, I'll say.
I think if it happened today,
Roll around the hay, I just may.
he's there. And I'll go out on a further limb and say that
Further limb.
either Tua and or Fromm stays. My money's on Fromm staying. Because right now, in a vacuum, Fromm's not a top 5 draft pick.
I love Derrick Henry this week.
I mean, it's going to depend on the shakeup of the teams, who's picking where. But I think you could see 5 to 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round this year.
Oh, absolutely. This is an incredible. It's shaping up to be an absolutely incredible draft.
It is. Oh, yeah.
Grab your second rounders. See, you sons of bitches in the league of record, not trading for second. I've offered so many people second round picks for not so great players, and you bastards are just passing. Listen, you're 1-7. You need those seconds. The 2020 draft is going to be some real
It's
shit.
going to be loaded.
Okay? It's going to be
Receivers,
some real
running
shit.
backs.
Okay.
I'm aggravated, okay? I'm sick of seeing people not trading. Why are you closing your laptop? We're not done.
I'm done.
We ain't done here. I don't believe a damn thing you're doing.
I just closed my laptop.
Shane, arms right. Are you done? You trying to leave too? He just
He's
He
gotta
don't
work.
have anything
He's
better
got
to
to
do.
work in the morning too.
here for the ride.
Exactly.
Get that guy a mic. Arms, go sleep in the truck. Shane's
fine.
in. You're out.
It's probably his car. Did you bring the Jeep? He usually brings Jeep, but it's apparently too cold out.
yeah.
I can't take top off Jeep. I don't want to drive it.
Shane, before we sign out, Instagram or Snapchat? Everybody loves Snapchat. I was having this conversation
Never
with my
had it.
cousin. Like,
It's the first thing that had filters.
yeah, I guess. Like, I meet these people at work that are 25. I get along with them. They're like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, feel free to send me a messenger or something sometime. Like, what was that? Do you have Snapchat? No.
No.
What?
Shane just said he has Snapchat to cover his ass.
I thought that was just for cheating. I thought Snapchat was just for cheating.
Now, like my wife and kids send me like filter pics all the time, and it's cute as hell. My little kid is a bunny rabbit or something. I love it.
I thought Snapchat was the new AshleyMadison.com. I didn't know it was a thing. Hux
I mean-
is laughing. You've been there.
I haven't, but I know what you're talking about. Though. I've never. No.
Odds are you might receive an appropriate pic from me, but that's just because I know you can't keep it.
That's why I don't have Snapchat.
There we go.
Boom. All right. So we didn't give you a whole crap ton of starts and sits, but
We literally went through the same amount we normally do. We just talked about a lot of other shit first.
maybe we did. We just had a good time tonight. Sometimes you just got to have a good time. Guy that didn't have a good time watching the stream, we apologize, but we had a
No,
good
we
time.
don't. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
I don't really care if you
Screw
don't have
Yeah.
a good time.
Listen, I won't say it, but I'll show it on the stream. That's for you, guy.
Yeah.
If it's boring, walk away.
I mean, why are you still watching if it's boring?
My wife watches a lot of crime shows on TV, and I'm like, this is boring as shit. I'm out.
I mean, it's
But
Hallmark.
she loves it.
It's Hallmark Christmas season.
Oh God.
I
kill
mean,
me.
I'm just going to be like,
Stab me.
fuck, and just walk away from the TV so much now.
Yep.
It's like, well, all right. Landy's gonna be like, "What are you doing on your phone?" I'm like, "Not watch TV is what I'm gonna do on my phone."
Real quick, as we sign off, I told Bauer, Dynasty Rewind, great podcast. Go listen to that. Bauer's a great dude, good host. Told Bauer I loved him on the stream chat. Neil said I need more Bauer. Bauer says, Neil, need to see you again soon, dude. Neil says, arms is a wet blanket. Bauer says, but not a trash can? Neil says, that would be an insult to a trash can. Bauer replies, ha 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 ha. Neil says, I love me some ID Network. That was some random ass conversation, but Arms, apparently you are
A wet blanket.
a wet blanket and not good enough to be a trash can.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what that means, but I'm
I don't
offended.
either.
I don't either. I don't.
Hey, Neil.
I would hate a wet blanket, so I can't imagine it's any good.
Thanks for watching.
I agree.
Trip.
Hold on a second.
Have a good night.
Neil,
I hate
a-
wet pants too. Just saying.
wet socks, the worst.
Yeah.
Stepping in water you weren't expecting to step in.
Yeah.
It's the most miserable feeling.
I
Neil,
literally have
hey,
wet
I'm
pants
so
right now.
glad we have our new third host, Hux. It's amazing that you're here, Brian. I appreciate it.
Brian.
Thanks.
And
Neil says
Thanks,
LOL.
Randy.
Neil says LOL, but the stream might be a minute behind, so you might not be hearing this until now.
that's not really how any of that works. But all right. Anyhow, are you done? Thanks, Hux.
I quit talking a while ago.
Hux, thanks for like completing our tripod.
You're welcome. I know. I thought we established this a few weeks back that I was the third guy.
I'm
But
feeling some guilt here.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Feeling a little bit of guilt here. I mean, Neil is the
Who?
3B to Hux's
Who?
3A.
Who's Neil?
Hux is 3A, Neil's 3B, and a lot of it has to do with travel and time, and some of it
But- Seriously,
has to do with Hux being really good.
but who's Neil?
very little. It's just. It's the. Listen, I get it.
Hey,
It's
the best
fact that
ability
it's
is
the-
availability,
Exactly.
baby.
It's the fact that I live 2 minutes down the road,
I
not
think-
an hour and a half.
I think you've came along just fine.
No, I appreciate all of our hosts that aren't me and Barker because
Me and Arms appreciate all of our scabs.
Wow.
we appreciate any of you guys who
Appreciate
are
all the
willing to do this
fill-ins.
work for not being paid.
Nah, Hux has been very consistent. Neil would too if he didn't live in West Virginia. I'd be fine with a 4-man show every week, but you know,
A four-man chew, if you will.
4-man chew, yeah. But we've got this nice rotation. Lambert's freaking great when he comes on too. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Lamberts are like 3A.
we just kind of have a really good thing going right now. I can skip out a night and feel great about listening the next
Yeah,
day.
you're the only person who can feel great about that because I'm like, which red button is it? Which red button is it? It's the one that says record arms. Oh, okay, I'm an idiot.
You pulled it off just fine the night I was out. So
I told him, I'm like, listen, guys, we're not editing. Nothing.
no shit, I don't edit. I quit editing a long time ago. Like whatever comes out of my mouth hole is going on the podcast. So next time I mention something about teach your kids something, it's staying. It's staying. Anyways,
We had to delete that from the live stream.
to delete that from the freaking archives, the library.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
We had to deep clean the whole thing. Don't drink too much, kids. Bark's out.
Good night.
See ya.
This concludes another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show. Thanks for listening, and be sure to give us a review.